Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and I'm super excited to bring you a brand new looter shooter called Outriders today. Now, this is actually coming out this holiday season. 2020 is the year it should be releasing. I don't know if it'll get pushed back, but right now it's aiming for the holiday 2020. So I'm pretty stoked to jump into this. Now, the different consoles it's going to be on also, because this is kind of important, is going to be like PS5 and PS4. It's going to be the new Xbox, old Xbox. So it's like everything. Kind of that, we got some opinions on that coming out later, but also it will be on PC. But for the most part, a lot of the footage that you're going to see, if not every bit of footage, is actually played on a console, and that might skew how things kind of look and feel and play here actually in the trailers. Just keep that in mind. I will be playing it on Steam, but I will immediately say I do hope that it is actually kind of built and balanced to be a PC game. Because I don't know if you guys have played a few looter shooters, maybe a little bit like Destiny, as well as Anthem on PC is just a little awkward, with the user experience, and general gameplay might be a little bit more horizontal based than it really should be. I mean, I'm a Warframe guy, okay? I'm on Team Warframe, but I know a lot of you guys do love the new Destiny. I know a lot of you guys actually, the Division, kind of low key, but a lot of you guys actually do like the Division. So we'll see how looter shooters go. And actually, there's been a few lately that have been trying to do something kind of unique, right? What is that? There's one called Ashes or something like that. Remnant from the Ashes, something like that. I gotta check out that game too. I know a lot of Warframe players dip to it. But anyways, looter shooters are definitely kind of hype. It's kind of something that we will probably see much more of. In fact, I could already do an upcoming list of brand new looter shooters. And I'm really excited for them. There's this one where it's like witchcraft and demons and stuff. Okay, but anyways, Outriders. Okay. Outriders is definitely following a trend, and I think that we're going to see a lot of the same components from other games. In fact, I'm just going to come out and say it. It looks a lot like Destiny and Anthem and a little bit of The Division. It's kind of like those three games were just kind of smooshed together. In fact, the story beats are very similar. The aesthetic, obviously, the menu design, especially the menu design, looks very Destiny, and a lot of the mechanics. But actually, I think Outriders is being designed a little bit more closely with ties to general looter action RPGs. That's going to be games like Diablo. In fact, Outriders reminds me a ton of Diablo. Like if Diablo were to evolve and become a looter shooter, where other games were kind of more inspired by Warframe or the literal shooting mechanics, I think that Outriders is going to be a better and more sophisticated action RPG, and to those who love action RPG. In fact, we've already seen a couple of people really hype this up who are YouTubers who generally cover specifically action RPGs. Now, me, I love shooters. I love anything mechanical. And actually, even though I don't think this game is coming from exactly a shooter perspective, I actually am very interested in the mechanical feel of this game. It looks like there's going to be some really cool abilities that you're going to be able to chain together, combo together, and I just think that the abilities in this game look not just like there for a big power fantasy, but also there to be just kind of like fun, just fun, wacky abilities, at least from the classes that we've seen so far. Mainly the Trickster. I gotta admit, me as a Mesmer main in Guild Wars 2, looking forward to the Trickster, switching places, time dilation kind of mechanics. And it's really cool also that they do mention that you can play different roles to an extent, at least be tankier or more DPS or maybe kind of supporty or CC oriented, but I don't think it's gonna be Holy Trinity. But it is cool that the talent tree does seem so sophisticated. Anyways, guys, okay, we got to dive into this game. We got to talk a little bit about this game. Now, I'm not just going to spill the entire story. I'm not just going to spill every single class and ability. I'm not just going to spill all that. This is a general overview and kind of a hype video, a preview, if you will. But there's probably going to be more videos on this channel where I actually dive into, okay, this is what this class does. This is how maybe it's going to play, and stuff like that. I might actually cover this game very much in depth. But let's go ahead and talk about it. The sci-fi setting. It's sci-fi fantasy. I think some people would say science fantasy, but it really is more like fantasy that happens to have guns for the most part. And the story basically is, okay, Earthlings, Earth is destroyed. They went to a new planet somehow, some way. Yeah, right? But on this new planet, there is totally not an Anthem, but there is some sort of magical force that they refer to. It's very story beat driven, similar to Anthem. And basically it transforms people, gives them magical abilities, as well as the monsters. Also, this is going to be a co-op game similar to Diablo, and I'm saying specifically Diablo, not Warframe, and definitely not an MMO light like Destiny. This is going to be definitely referenced similar to Destiny, similar to The Division, but those games I would consider MMO lights. This game is a single-player game, and it is as well a cooperative game. So you can play 3 players or 1 player, and you go specifically into instances, you go into levels, and you run through the campaign of the game. As well, this is going to be priced similarly to Diablo. There is not going to be a subscription, there is going to be no microtransactions, and they're going to support the game through DLCs proper or expansions. If you like that kind of concept, which you should, because Destiny did it kind of poorly at first as a games as a service, Warframe is definitely not looking that great, but I do believe that, some games can do it amazingly, such as Path of Exile, which just has, free expansions and it's freaking awesome. This game though, box copies, box DLC, and people really like that about Diablo, so I think it's going to work with this game as well. You're gonna jump in, you're gonna pick a class, you're gonna ham it up, okay? And there's a lot of really fun, unique mechanics and gimmicks that I do want to kind of shout out here, but for the most part, it's a third-person shooter. You can see that clearly. Third-person shooter with a more kind of darkish tonality. I think a lot of you guys from ARPG roots are gonna appreciate that, but obviously, in many ways, the aesthetic and some of the abilities are gonna look just like Anthem, gonna look just like Destiny, but it looks like you're gonna be a little bit more hyperactive compared to Anthem a bit, and Destiny, especially Destiny. Destiny is a little slow. You don't have too many chained abilities. That's really more focused on the shooting gun mechanics. This game is going to be classes, abilities, working together with your team and chaining them together with yourself. That's going to be mainly, how this game is going to be thick with magical abilities. But for the most part, you're going to be looting loot, and I really love the gimmick mechanic for this game here, which is actually something that maybe a lot of ARPGs get criticized for. So can we talk about that? Let's go ahead and jump into that. I know we're kind of jumping around, but it's all kind of layered together. So let's do this. The thing that I kind of care about the most, that's really intriguing to me, other than the classes and the in-depth talent tree, which a lot of ARPG are known for, especially Path of Exile, the way you actually kind of level up, the way you get your loot, and the way you play the game, the thing that really interacts with everything is this world tier system. So let's explain that real quick. Basically, normally in ARPGs like Path of Exile, I believe Diablo, the new Minecraft Dungeons, basically you play through the campaign at 1 difficulty, and then you play through the campaign again, or you keep replaying the game and it gets harder and harder and harder, or you go into a certain part of the map, and then you basically replay the game until it gets harder and harder. This game is a little different, kind of. It seems almost inspired actually from Smash Bros. I don't know if you've played the new one, but there's a mechanic where, depending on how well you're doing, you actually get harder, challenges in front of you. So basically, it's got scaling difficulty based on how much havoc you're wreaking, how much like absolute destruction, right? If you're just completely walking through the game, it's gonna up the difficulty, but you can actually choose to lower it down, but you have to earn the higher difficulties. So instead of playing the game over and over and over and over and over again, which is going to be an aspect to this title, obviously, but instead of just doing that, it almost reminds me of Dark Souls 2, which actually had this mechanic kind of, where you could burn a certain item in the bonfire and it levels up the world. So you actually get basically the New Game Plus or the New Game Plus Plus, and you can just do that for that specific portion of the world. This game, much more fluid, so as you kill shit and get shit done, the game gets harder. Now, how does it get harder? This is going to be a point of contention, and I would like to input my opinion here, but it's going to be, obviously, health bars. Yep, monsters will become more bullet spongy, they will do more damage, and there will probably be more of them, but though I think generally the more monsters comes from co-op, so yeah, the more players you have in a party, so 3 players, you're going to have more creatures. The difficulty will be scaled with more players. But for the most part, it doesn't seem, they did not promote it like how they do in Dark Souls 2, where they have an entirely curated system per each New Game Plus, which means it's not just stronger monsters, they're also put in different positions, and they're also like different monsters. Things are really switched up. I don't think this game has that. They did not say that, they did not mention that. I would prefer that. Most people don't like it when things are just bullet spongy. Hopefully there's really fun mutators, which is something that you do see often in action RPGs, especially stacking and layered mutators for the different monsters, and if there's some random element, freaking sweet. But that wasn't promoted. So basically, you do have higher difficulty monsters, but you're gonna get better rewards for that. So it's gonna be harder, you're gonna get better rewards. The rewards are gonna be like layered mutator weapons. You're going to be able to level up faster, have a more curated experience with your class. Me personally, I'm thinking about playing a tank trickster class. I think that'd be really fun. That's really gimmicky. I play a mesmer. I plan to be a chronomancer later, which is a tank, trickster basically in that game. I think it's a really cool concept that often isn't done, like a dodge tank or a flank tank or some weird, a trickster tank. is just not often done. So I do want to play it in this game, especially because it's a shooter action RPG. Sounds really cool. It sounds like they're very focused on a power fantasy that you don't quite get in at least other games aside from Warframe, which might be too much power fantasy. But this game, I am looking forward to the difficulty scaling as well as the customization and the really fun, stupid weapons we can get, which they haven't really shown off. But the thing is when you have a game like generally action RPGs where you can create all these cool abilities and you mix and match and modify them, you know, fireballs that split up other fireballs, that summon fire demons that explode into other fireballs, and bullshit that bounces around the walls, and it's crazy, right? Enemies turn into fireballs, I don't know. You can have one ability that's basically 10 abilities. That's awesome, but often the difficulty scaling is just, well, the AI is the same. The skill attack patterns are the same. You literally just running through the game, and eventually you hit a bullet sponge, or you hit something that will kill you in one hit. And that's how your game ends, basically. You get swarmed by, you know, these walls, these health walls, or you get killed by a big guy with a big sledgehammer that smashes your face in one hit, and you just didn't really see it coming. There's definitely a skill and gameplay to that, but I am definitely more of a Monster Hunter-y kind of player. I'm definitely more of a Dark Souls player. And I like it when creatures, like the harder difficulty creatures, have new movesets, have new gimmicks, have things like that. And then the rewards give me new gimmicks. So I like the trade, and I just kind of wanted to ramble on that. But I will say, okay, talent trees do look exciting. I like the mixing and matching. I do want to see the other classes, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with the Trickster, which is actually the full in-depth video that we have so far. There's more content every day coming out of this game. I'll try to cover it. We'll see what happens because I am pretty excited. Now, why am I excited? Well, that's because I'm a YouTuber. That's what's going to happen. I'm excited about new shit. But let's be honest, guys. I got to be a critic as well. Anthem was a flop, and Anthem might actually be able to come out. It might have a comeback. Anthem, though, had a much more unique world building, had, I think, overall more unique gimmicks in terms of its story. And also, you know, the company making it, it really should have been a stronger hit. But this game seems to be taking kind of a mix and match of like kind of where those games went wrong. That's what it seems like. Even though I actually said the same thing about Anthem, so fucking who knows, right? But really, this game, every point that they've made on their website and every trailer that they've released has kind of been an answer to questions that people have had and you know, problems that they've had with these other games. So specifically, actually, if you just go to the website and their FAQ, they do say, like, you know, is this a games as a service? And they say no. That doesn't mean it's a good thing, okay? I mean, we can rant about that. Like League of Legends is a great games as a service, right? Some people really love Path of Exile. Nothing wrong with those games whatsoever. You can do games as a service really good like. And also, technically, if you are expanding this game consistently, it's a games as a service, but I mean, basically what they're saying, just to clarify, is that it's going to be a finished game out of the box. It's a finished game, you buy the game, it's a full experience, done, just the vanilla experience, awesome. And then they're going to do expansions later, and each of those are going to be full, whole experiences. I know a lot of us are really fucking tired of Warframe and how expensive something like Destiny could be, so yeah. Will it have microtransactions? They immediately say, no microtransactions. Will it have de novo? No. So they know what people are going to ask. They know what people have problems with this genre and modern gaming as a whole, and they're just straight up answering it. Literally in the FAQ, literally in the dev streams, and also like actually with the trailers if you look and peer into it as well. A lot of people have problems with difficulty. The sliding difficulty that you can pick and choose as well as grow by being a better player is a great middle ground from a Dark Soulsian mentality as well as mixing with like a Skyrim mentality. So, you know, some people just like to play for the story. Outriders will have a story as well. Kind of hinted and teased, but this is actually being developed, and let's talk about this real quick, by Square Enix in conjunction with People May Fly. People Can Fly? People Can Fly. Now, People Can Fly have made a lot of freaking shooters. In fact, I think the easiest way to describe this game is probably like Destiny mixed with Gears of War. Maybe better. It's Gears of War mixed with Diablo. This is Diablo of War or Gears of Diablo. This is Gears of Diablo. It's a third-person shooter with a campaign, with a proper story that has a unique world building, okay, darker tonality, which both those games do have, and magic and shit and classes. So that's basically what it's going to be. It's Gears of Diablo. And if that sounds really exciting to you, awesome. So they did help work on Gears of War. They worked on Bulletstorm as well as Painkiller. So these guys make shooters. They worked on Unreal Tournament, Fortnite, as well as Infinity Blade. So they kind of know how to use the Unreal Engine So I think with People Can Fly, it's going to be an interesting title. Outriders, I think it's probably going to fundamentally feel really good, which is something Anthem failed at, as well as Destiny kind of, it actually really works on consoles. Ooh, is this game going to feel good only on consoles? I'm worried about that. Already said that, but I think that this game's probably going to feel good, just to assume. Probably going to feel really good, probably going to give us a nice power fantasy, but then also being built a little bit with Square Enix, I think we're going to have a fun world setting. I think we're going to have actually intriguing characters. I think we're going to have a really fun monster design. If you actually look at the website, there's some really weird kind of, I don't know, like Lovecraftian-esque monsters. Maybe a little bit, like you gotta get like a Demogorgon kind of thing going on, actually. So I don't know. It seems really fun. It seems inspired for sure. With a little bit with pop culture. And some people are going to say, well, this does just look like, it looks like a more down-to-earth Destiny. And some people might say it looks like a more boring Destiny because it's not as sci-fi, it's not as fantasy. But I think that's actually a really smart choice. Is you start the game and you're very human. You're very basic and fundamental, and you really focus on just gunplay and just shooting. And yeah, the maps, I gotta say, the maps look copy-paste from Gears of War. It's going to be basically like everyone with like these half walls, these hip height walls, and then you're just going to be dunking and stuff like that. That's how the map design is designed. But I don't know, very corridor-esque. I don't know how you guys feel about that versus sometimes Destiny can be very more open as well as the Division. But this is going to be, you know, you're running down corridors and smashing faces. If you like dungeon divers, you're going to like this game. But in a shooter, and especially a third-person shooter, it might feel more limiting. I don't know how you guys felt about Gears of War, but especially with the power fantasy, this could feel weird, or it could feel really amazing. It could feel like a really freaking fast roller coaster, you know, firing off, popping off, and blasting stupid giant monsters. Apparently there will be giant monsters. Didn't really see that, but apparently there will be giant monsters as well as hordes of enemies. Again, I didn't see too many hordes of enemies. It wasn't exactly, you know, Dynasty Warriors or something like Warframe, but we'll see. We will see. They got a lot of talk. They're talking a lot of smack about other games, basically, and we'll see how it all turns out. Anyways, there's a ton of freaking footage about this game, so I could talk forever. Like, they all dropped it all in one day. But, yeah, so I think that it could feel really great. It could have a really good story, and I think, all in all, it's probably going to be worth the boxed copy. But to consistently play it and to love it and appreciate it like we have Path of Exile for all of these years, and will it have the production value of Diablo? I don't know. Some people would say that Diablo wasn't worth the box copy when it released. Is this game going to be like wait until, the expansions come out and then buy it then and run through it? Is it a game that you're going to want to play every day like Warframe? What exactly is going to be the true gameplay loop? I don't know, and I'm kind of worried about that. But I think that it's going to be interesting, and it seems that they're promising that it's not going to be garbage at launch, basically. Which Anthem was a complete flop, and it's so tragic because that game had so much potential. And even Destiny, was really held back by Activision, but now, of course, has hit its stride. So we will see. There's pros and cons to a lot of these decisions and how an action RPG is built and designed. So let me ask you guys, let me end the video by asking this, because I think the gameplay kind of speaks for itself. I don't want to just reiterate everything. I don't want to just read off the PowerPoint, per se. But do you guys like it when action RPGs or these looter shooters or just looter games, period, do you appreciate when they are games as a service like Path of Exile more often, or do you appreciate it when they are, you just kind of buy the box and you play it? So for me, I haven't played many of those, but that would probably, like obviously Diablo, but me, I played Dungeon Defenders. No, that's not exactly the same thing, but it is a looter dungeon focused game, whatever. Anyways, so do you guys like that? For me, it seems that most of them are going as games as a service, and I don't really, even games that's like Destiny, it was a boxed copy, and then you had microtransactions, and then you have expansions, then you have a sequel. It's like, I just don't want to be burned again. What do you guys think? What's the best way to go about it? And do you think this game can, have some hope? Or is it usual? Either way, a lot of these games coming out that look like this, that'll play like this, that are similar, that have just released, that are on the horizon, I'm going to talk about them because obviously throughout 20 minutes, I have not dropped my hype, my enthusiasm. This energy is overflowing. And I think, after I stop recording, I'm still going to look up more about this game, and I'm going to look forward to every single piece of news and information about it, because I just want to talk about it. It's just exciting. Okay, I want to, basically, for me, lastly, I want to say, I'm looking forward to this game, because I'm hungry for a game that not just technically has on paper a power fantasy. There's games where you can be invincible technically and kill hordes of enemies, or fight a big boss and have I guess, interesting gunplay overall. You know, you can have a big gun that shoots a giant laser, but I really want that mechanical feel. And I haven't had that really since playing Volt on Warframe with a very specific build. I think certain games do have specific kind of power fantasies and they do it right, but I want a game that really understands the term power fantasy and doesn't just make you overpowered, and that doesn't just make, you know, just throw hordes of enemies at you or what have you. You know what I'm saying? Like tons of ARPGs do that, where it's just kind of a little flat. It's there, and if you really love those kind of games, cool for you, but I need a little bit more convincing. So let's see, what can this game do to convince me to get into this sort of fringe genre and then bleed into, you know, the general ARPG community? Get me into it, guys. I'm trying so hard. I've been playing a bunch of them and they've just been falling flat, especially Looter Shooter, and I think you guys all can jive with that as well. But this game isn't going to be the answer because that's pretty much everything about it. The marketing is, we are the answer. We're not shooting for the stars. We're not trying to be the magical thing, this magical unicorn of a game. But we've seen the falls of all these other games, and we want to give you what you want. That's what it seems like, just plain and simply. And it's coming from a partnership that I think could really deliver on this as well. And overall, yeah, maybe it's not the most unique looking game, but I think it might be something that we need right now. Anyways, that's pretty much it, guys. Outriders, it looks interesting to me. I think you guys can kind of get that vibe, and I think it could be fun. And maybe it's going to be a game that we actually play a lot on the channel. Regardless, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Now you know this game exists, and you should definitely, I'm going to leave links in the description for all the content of this game, their YouTube channel. There's so much to dive through and a lot of information, and we might actually cover some of that actually coming soon, specific classes, stuff like that. So subscribe and like and YouTube stuff, but much love, friends and family. I will see you in the next one.